We're gonna let some people roll in as we get set for Texans Cookout Week 4. Did you catch that? We got overtime right now between the Cowboys and the Packers. As more people join the live here in a bit. What a grab! Sarge is with us. DJ, Jonathan, they're on the back. I'm gonna bring them on here shortly. Get to it. DJ letting me in the back. I'm gonna bring him on because he back there mouthing something. What's going on, fellas?
Greetings. Greetings.
My boys ready to get rolling? We can get
I
to
didn't know
it.
that. I didn't know the Green Bay's defense stunk like this.
It is our bedtime.
It's putrid.
You know, DJ pushing 40, so you know he got
Yeah,
a
I'm getting
grandpa tongue.
cranky. I'm getting cranky.
You don't like that. You don't like DJ when he's cranky. Let's get to it, fellas. Texans Cookout, Week 4. The Texans shut out the Tennessee Titans at home to earn their first victory of the season. Chancellor Johnson joined alongside by Jonathan Alexander of the Houston Chronicle, Big Sarge of Big Sarge Media, and the man currently on his phone with the Cowboys game in the background, DJ BNMA of ESPN. Fellas, the Texans get their first win. As always, give me your one big takeaway from the game today. DJ, get us rolling.
I would say that gotta give credit when credit is due. Nick Caley was a little bit more creative at times, found ways to get guys the ball in space, try to scheme some things open. Still dink and dunk offense. It is what it is, but there were still moments where it was like, all right, that was cute. You know what I'm saying? Let's see if we can continue to build on that.
Give me a moment. What was one
I
moment?
think I think I think the play down to Schultz where CJ overthrew him a little bit. I think that was one of those plays where you kind of get a little bit creative. I would have liked to set it up first with a hit that screenplay, but whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna do too much about that. That was a nice design play. There was another play where CJ hit Kirk that there was actually I think they ran like a post and they ran like a wheel behind that, and like there was like a big void where Schultz was kind of hanging out in. So it was some plays where I was like, all right, I kind of see what Nick Caley's trying to do. And again, I was happy to see the offense kind of get it going once Nico had that big play. So they were able to kind of get rolling off of that, and they probably need to find ways to try to hit shots early because it's clear once they hit shots that it gets the offense going. We saw it last week, even though they turned the ball over a few times, but after Nico had that big play, the offense was starting to move with more explosiveness.
So DJ, last week, you said it was bland, uncooked chicken. What did Nick Haley bring to the
It's
kitchen this
boiled.
time?
It's it's still bland. Don't get it wrong, but
But he brought some salt and pepper though, huh?
he decided. Yeah, he got some he got some salt, not too much pepper, but a little bit of salt. I give him that.
He needs some Lowry's.
He needs a Lowry. Still
Oh,
needs he needs some slap your mama.
Old Bay.
He need more of that. But
But but see, that's when you
I
get
can only ask for so
overseasoning
much.
things, though.
I can
You
only ask
start
for so much.
overseasoning things.
I mean, that's true, but I can only ask for so much. You know what I'm saying? The fact that he got some salt now, that's better than what he had before in the pantry. The pantry was just naked. It was empty. You know what I'm saying? So at least now he went to HEB and got some salt.
Sarge, talk to me. What's your one big thing from the Texans win today?
So the one big thing to me was the fact that they finally got that offense going. I think that the biggest play, by far was we seen the 37-yard pass play from Stroud to Collins, but what led up to that is what impressed me the most about the Houston Texans today. because you remember CJ got that first down, and then after that, after he got that first down, they got an offensive holding on Jake Andrews that pushed him back 10 yards. Then they got the offensive pass interference that pushed him back another 10 yards. And then Woody Marks lost 3 yards. So it was 2nd and 33 when CJ hit Nico for that 37-yard pass. And if you go back and you take a look, at the pass, if you at the play in totality, what I liked about it was it looked like CJ came and he recognized, because I think that they were in cover 4, but they still had too high as far as safeties is concerned. But the safeties weren't spread out; they were like right in the middle, and so it was a true one-on-one between L'Jarius Sneed and Nico Collins. And I like the fact that CJ recognized that, and that's the one thing that that you want to see, especially with those two. You want to see Nico be able to play catch with you want to see Nico and CJ Stroud be able to play catch. So that was my one biggest thing. If I had to just add something real quickly, I like the fact that they won. I like the fact they got that, after that they ran off 20 unanswered points. But I mean, that game could have been tied at 6. And so, and when they go back and they look at the film, I want Nick Caley to be able to look and say, like DJ say, hey DJ, he don't just need salt, he don't need he needs Tony Satchery, he needs all of the seasoning to make that make that offense go.
My biggest takeaway was that the offense actually does have a little bit of juice. We talked, like DJ said, we talked bad about him all last week. So you got to give credit where credit is due. Nick Haley did a good job in the second half calling plays. They got the ball in the end zone, 20 points in the fourth quarter. But I think it starts with Haley's insistence to establish the running game. I thought he did a good job, and we see a potential running back one emerging in Woody Marks. He had a really big game, 119 yards for scrimmage, and the Texans ran for like more than 100 yards, which was the first time I've seen them do that in a long time, definitely since last year. So I think the fact that they found something in Woody Marks, they're utilizing him a lot more, is huge. And I think you'll probably continue to see that given the many injuries they have at the tight end position. They'll use him and Jaden Higgins a lot more. So I think Nick Haley is finding more weapons and finding different ways to unlock what this offense could potentially do this season.
It's funny to me that the offense has been so bad this season that the Texans did something they haven't done in 15 years, which is have a shutout defensively, and everybody's like, hey, look, the offense just finally showed that they had some life. The offense is alive. And yeah, like for the Texans to finally have a couple of explosives, and as Jonathan mentioned, potential RB1 and Woody Marks. And early on, he had a couple of runs where he had a run on the perimeter on the left sideline where I thought to myself, like, oh, Woody's got some juice to him, right? And then after that, he kept making some plays, and I think it certainly led to the offense opening up some more. We also saw Jaden Higgins continue his one catch a game that we've seen, but this time he found the end zone, and so it was good to see him get involved. And so, yeah, just the offense finally putting something together and showing some type of spark. And as Jonathan mentioned, to Nick Haley's credit, it was a slow burn, especially in that first half. But in the second half, for them to score 20, they're going in the right direction finally. But will that be enough to overcome this 0-3 start that they have? Well, we'll see. But I do want to continue with Woody and what we saw from him today. Is he the RB1 moving forward? It feels like over the last couple of weeks, not feels like, I know for a fact, his snap count has continually increased. And then we got the performance that we saw today, a 2-touchdown game. Thoughts on Woody Marks and the sparks that he provides to this offense?
I mean, again, he has more juice than Nick Chubb at this point. But I think that having that change of pace back with Woody, a guy that can really be shifty. It's kind of like an East-West playmaker. That's an NCAA archetype on a video game. But he can just give you a little more. He's a little more dynamic than Nick Chubb at this point. But you can still utilize Nick Chubb on some of those inside tough yardage situations. So it just gives you another piece, another element that you can kind of add to the offense. So we'll see if you can take the RB1 by the reins and then be able to continue to build on it. I try not to get too excited or too high on running backs anymore, especially rookies, because you saw what happened last time we got super high on a 4th round pick running back a couple years back, 3 years to be exact. And now the brother can't even be active 3 years later. So I try not to get too ahead on things. I try to take it more week by week. Because, NFL is week to week. You never know. So, 1 week someone could pop off. Next week someone, they could disappear. But I do think he has way more juice than Nick Chubb at this point. But I don't think that means you got to get rid of Nick Chubb. I think you can still utilize Nick Chubb for short yardage situations.
Yeah, I think they'll probably still start Nick Chubb, but you'll continue to see Woody Marks get more of the carries and more of the touches. And as he becomes more consistent, they'll probably make him running back 1 or go to him a lot more often, and you'll see Nick Chubb's carries continue to dwindle. Nick Chubb still has that experience. He still had a good game Sunday. He just doesn't have the same juice that he once had before that knee injury, and it's understandable when you have a major knee injury like that. And when you turn close to 30, your production is going to drop off. But I like what Woody Marks can do. I think he even has more. I'm not saying he'll be – I agree with DJ. You can't really buy a whole bunch of stock in rookie running backs. However, I do think he has more potential than Dameon Pierce. Dameon Pierce, his
let's be fair now. Dameon Pierce almost – if he finished that season, he would have hit 1,200 yards that year. So let's –
Yeah, but
act like what we were seeing from Dameon was some
no, I'm not. But can I finish my point?
Or whatever.
But can I finish my point?
He normally don't let nobody finish their point.
I'm just saying though,
well, don't just say let him finish his point.
We get one good game, and now he was better than 2022 Dameon Pierce.
But no, I didn't. I never said that.
You said that he got more.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
You did say that. You just said he's more talented. You say he's more.
No, I said he has potential. I say he has more potential, and I'll tell you why.
I
didn't say he was better. I didn't say he was. I didn't say he was better. Dameon Pierce.
Hold on. That's like John.
I need you to mute
Don't worry about it.
this guy. I need you to mute this guy. I'll mute him.
You muted yourself.
My bad. Hey, I need you to mute him for something, bro. Nah, I think he has more potential. Dameon Pierce right now did have a better rookie season, but I think the thing that hurt Dameon Pierce was the fact that he couldn't run in multiple systems. I don't know what Woody could do, but he also couldn't catch the ball out the backfield, and that was his issue. And I think Woody, if he can continue what he's doing, he's a good runner and a good pass catcher out the backfield. He has more speed. I think the potential is there. Now, will he have a better career? I'm not saying that, but I'm saying the potential, in my opinion, if he can continue what he's doing, he's gotten better every game. I think he has better potential and has the ability to have long-staying power if he can remain healthy. I don't think Dameon Pierce can remain healthy.
DJ, would you like to respond to that since you were, so eager earlier on?
No, I was just saying, I'm really big on superlatives. You know what I'm saying? I like to let things bake a little bit before we start just throwing things out there. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, well, I don't care. I'll throw it out there. Jonathan, look, if you said it, if you didn't say it, I thought that you were leading that way. It don't matter. If you'd have said it, I got your back. I was here. I know. I watched him as well. Woody Marks is a way more talented running back than Dameon Pierce. Dameon Pierce is a contact magnet who runs one way. They tell him to run 32 dive. He's running 32 dive. Woody Marks runs better than Dameon Pierce. Woody Marks sees the field better than Dameon Pierce. He catches better than Dameon Pierce, and he pass blocks better than Dameon
I'm
Pierce.
talking about 2022 Dameon Pierce. That was quite literally the best.
I'm somewhere in the middle there.
In all
No,
And I'm not ready to do that off of
I'm
one
gonna
game.
act like
not doing that off
what Dameon was doing in 2022 was just like.
I'm doing it off of what I've seen him do, not only in college, but what I've seen him do in training camp. The only thing that people was really worried about was the fact if he could pass block, I could see Woody Marks getting more. That's why one of the reasons why I asked him after the one of the preseason games about pass protection. He says, I'm learning as I go. But man, listen, let me tell you something. I like Dameon Pierce, but one of the things that I was always told about Dameon Pierce by his teammates, by his position group, was he's a very hard runner, but he only can run one way, and he loves contact. That's why I keep calling him a contact magnet. When you look at the way Woody Marks runs, he runs with the eyesight of being able to cut back, but he also has the power and the speed to get to where he wants to get to. Listen, I know it's only been one game, but I'm gonna tell you like this. I've been saying since the training camp, hey, look, by the 5th game of the season, which we're getting ready to head into, I feel like Woody Marks is going to be RB1. Will he be RB1? I don't know. We're still looking at it. Probably going to be Nick Chubb. But I said if Joe Mixon isn't back, he'll be looking at RB1. And if it's not by next week, it'll definitely be after the bye week, because I don't see Joe Mixon coming back no time soon. And as you can see, Woody Marks is slowly progressing to overtake Nick Chubb, and I can see them splitting the carries, which is still a good thing. But eventually, Woody Marks is going to be RB1, especially after what, if you listen to what CJ said in the press conference, he said, we took some of Lincoln Riley's plays out of college and incorporated them into our offense, and now you can see him starting to, get a feel for the game. So, look, I'll say it. I think that Woody Marks is a better running back and will be a better running back than Dameon Pierce.
I'm not going to go as far as say he's more talented, but I do think he has more potential because he can stay on the field longer than Dameon Pierce. He's an every down back. Dameon Pierce is a first and second down back, right. And Dameon Pierce can't even. When that's why Dameon Pierce can't get on the field right now, because he can't stay on the field on 3rd downs, and he's hurt every year. So that's my reasoning for that.
But you can't keep Woody on the field on 3rd downs.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Woody is an every down back. Dameon is only first and second down back.
Dameon is like, what, I ain't gonna say that. Let's just keep it moving, because I ain't trying to start. It's too late at night. I ain't trying to start nothing. And then I got to walk back in that locker room, and they be like, "Hey, Sarge, come see me for a second." I'd be like, "What?" Something. Hey, look, that's definitely for the text group.
DJ, response to that? Are you buying what Sarge is selling?
No, I mean, listen, like I don't disagree that like he has more talent. No, not more talent. I don't disagree with that. The fact that he has more upside in his offense right now, Woody, that is, because like obviously he's getting more playing time over Dameon. I'm just more or less comparing Dameon 2022 Dameon to Woody Marks 2025. You know what I'm saying? So I think this game by the end of the tie, I think a little double overtime. But yeah, that's how I'm kind of looking at that. Yeah, I think it ended in a tie.
Yeah, it did.
Oh wow. Yeah, so that's kind of how I'm looking at that.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So
the Green Bay Packers should be ashamed of themselves after watching what the Chicago Bears did to that Dallas Cowboys defense last week, and you tie with them.
They put up 40 points. What do you mean? They did exactly what
Chicago put up.
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to talk about the Packers defense against the Cowboys offense, not the Packers.
You scored 40 on the road offensively.
Yeah, you scored 40 on the road.
Hey, wait, somewhere Lovie Smith is smiling with that tie. Somewhere Lovie Smith is saying, "See, it ain't bad to end the game in a tie."
It's not bad though. But yeah, but moving on from Woody Marks, don't want to go down that rabbit hole. I still do want to prep. I'm not going to get too ahead of what I saw from the offense because they did most of their damage scoring wise in the fourth quarter. And I can't ignore what I've seen the other 15 quarters of the season to just allow one quarter to override everything I've seen before. You know what I'm saying? I want to see it against a better defense. Really, my real test will be at Seattle because Baltimore, their defense is kind of a shell of itself. They got a lot of injuries, so I think offense should be decent in week 5. I just want to see what they look like coming off the bye at Seattle. It's gonna be a hellacious game. It's gonna be a tough game. It's gonna present some schematic issues that I don't know if Nick Kelly will have a lot of answers for immediately. So that's a game I'm really gonna be looking forward to, just to kind of see where the offense is. Cause I'd be week 7. I believe, I'd be like week 7. So at least at that point, you'd have had half a season or close to half a season to have your offense fully implemented, and so forth and so forth.
Defensively, shut the Titans out. How much stock are you putting into that? Obviously, for the defense for the most part has been pretty good this season. How much of it was the defense? How much of it was the Titans just being the Titans? And as Cam Ward said, right now we freaking suck.
Hey, wait, hold on, Chance. Did you say that they shut him out? Something that somebody on this panel said can't happen in the NFL?
What?
That's what you said, right? You said shutout, right?
Yeah, it happened.
Yeah. Oh, DJ, don't act like you don't remember what I was talking about, what Danielle Hunter said, and you said that can't. You didn't even let me finish saying what I had to say. That can't happen. This is the NFL. That can't happen. I said Danielle Hunter told me last week that he feels like that they could win a game if they go and they shut their opponents out. He said that's what I strive to do. I strive to go in and do my part in making sure that they don't score. You don't remember me saying that? Then you cut me off.
The bigger point was, if that's the objective and that's the only way you think you can win, what does that say about the offense and how he feels about the offense?
That ain't just him, though. Derek said the same thing today.
Derek
said the same thing.
Yes, but it's not realistic for you to go into every single week thinking we got to shut this team out to win games.
So you go in So you go in thinking, hey, we got to give up some points in order to win, or we got to shut them out. Like if you go in with the mindset of we got to give up at least this amount of point in order to win. Like no, that's a defeatist attitude already.
Ray Lewis once said that he told the offense, just get us 10, we'll do the rest.
I know Ray Lewis was also walking in Atlanta and.
All right, but like,
you know what? Yeah, that's what I thought. Listen, let's
get back.
Yeah, so all I'm saying is, no, he brought up Ray Lewis. He didn't want me to start.
No, but I'm saying like a quote that he said, like for the 2000 Ravens, like we just needed 10 points. Meaning that, hey,
but that's
give up a touchdown, but we're not gonna give up no more than.
I get that, but to me, I still don't. That don't mean that Ray Lewis is right. You don't go in thinking, hey, man, if we give up 13 points, we give up 15 points, we should still win this game. Now, you go in and be like, hey, look, we don't give up. We don't want to give up no points. But if we do, the offense should be able to have our back. If we give up the points, I don't think you should ever go in thinking that you're going to give up any points. You're trying not to. That's the objective.
Yeah, but you can but you can still understand the reality. Like, all right, they might get us because they also get paid too to make plays. We just got to make sure in the red zone, we hold them out. We gotta make sure we don't give up explosives. We gotta make sure they earn everything. Like there's still a realistic way you can look at it. Because if Legion of Boom is one of the best defenses in the world, they didn't hold teams to 0 points. They were like roughly like in between 12 to like 15, 16 points that they allowed.
I bet you their mindset was we don't want nobody to score on us. And that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying is that that's what Danielle Hunter said last week, and that's what happened this week. I'm not gonna say it's happened every week. He just told me that's what he wanted.
You missing the point. You missing.
So Sarge, how much of that is on how bad the Titans are versus what the Texans were actually able to do today?
No, the Texans were actually able to. You know what we seen today is I mean, we keeping it a buck. That's kind of like what we've really been seeing over the last 3 weeks. Like they have a hell of a defense. They have a top 5 defense in the NFL. And like to DJ's point, I mean, they were only giving up 13 points a game, and that's very good in the NFL. So what we seen on Sunday was just them really putting it all together. And because I said this in my recap, like whatever we want to say about the Tennessee Titans, bro, Cam Ward, if he stays on this trajectory, he's going to be a monster. That 33-yard pass that he completed on that first drive, throwing the ball across his body. And today on Sunday he came up short on some passes. Some things could have been a little bit better, but like I don't want to say that the Titans are really just that bad. I'm just saying that the Texans defense is really good.
They're most definitely that bad.
Well, I will say to this, I think that right now their offense is so dysfunctional that, like, yes, Cam Ward is making some of those flashy plays, but I actually turned to Jonathan. There was a third down where it was almost like a bubble screen, or it was like a quick out or some effect on the boundary, and he just whiffed on it bad. And to me, like, yes, the flashy plays are great, and that shows the type of talent and what the potential is there. But like, to me, my thing is, can you make the easy passes? Can you take the yards the defense? Can you take what the defense gives to you? And there were times today that I thought he missed some moments to just take some easy yards that the Texans were giving to him. So for me, like, I think my opinion on that has changed, whether that's looking at like the way Caleb Williams started last year and his whole thing was out of structure, but he struggled last year. And then this year now he's starting to play a little more in structure and the offense looks a little bit better. There's been some other examples that, like, to me, once again, is can you do the easy stuff right? So as you mentioned, Sarge, I'm not taking anything away from that. Very talented. But right now, like, if he's playing so much out of structure and he's not really learning how to just take those over the season, like it's developing bad habits for a young QB.
Well, before Jonathan goes, real quick, Jonathan, I just want to throw this in there. And the reason why I said that, does the Titans have a bad offense? Yeah, we can say they had a bad offense, but look at what the Texans defense did to the three previous opponents, and then look what those opponents did to other teams after the Texans. Like the Texans held the Rams to what, 14 points, right? Was it 14?
Yeah, it was week one though. Week one.
Yeah. Okay. So and then they came the next week and held Tampa Bay to 20. That was in the last 2 minutes, and then they did that to Jacksonville. But every time after that team plays the Texans, go and look like they have these offensive outbursts. So that's all I'm saying is that, yeah, they could have played what you all consider a bad Titans offense today, but that defense has been playing the way that they've been playing for the last 4 weeks.
For sure.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you that the defense is doing more of the same, but I do think it's both sides of the coin. Titans offense is terrible, and the Texans defense is really good, if not elite. I thought Cam Ward looked like Anthony Richardson out there. He was horrendous. 10 to 26, and he'll probably get better. I mean, he'll get better. I think he has more experience than Anthony Richardson, so he probably won't go down that path, but he didn't look good at all. So, but the Texans took advantage of him. They only had 2 sacks, which is crazy. But they're a really good defense, and we saw it those first 3 weeks in how they neutralized all 3 of those quarterbacks for most of the game. Really, it's just been a handful of plays in each of those games that the Texans obviously got to clean up.
Right.
That caused them to, give up those points, and maybe they rid themselves of one of the biggest problems they had on the defense. But yeah, I thought it was a little bit of both.
I agree. I agree. Next week we talk about the QBs that the Texans, have faced and have somewhat neutralized to a certain extent. Big question is, and a couple weeks ago we were looking at it of, hey, they have to win this. Obviously they need to win, but the schedule doesn't get any easier with the Ravens coming, with the Texans going on the road to take on the Ravens and the potential of Lamar Jackson. But as we saw today, a messed up hamstring, those things don't heal that quickly, especially we'll figure out how severe it is over the next couple of days. But Texans could be staring at a Ravens defense that is reeling and a backup QB in Cooper Rush. And we saw what they did to that young man last year when he was in Dallas. Now that the Texans are 1-3, has your opinions on what they might be able to do or accomplish changed at all? Where are you guys at on the Texans right now?
Wait,
Jonathan,
what?
I'll go back to you.
Are you? Oh,
Oh, you start with me. If the Texans face a Lamar Jackson-less Ravens, and I think they got a much better chance because their defense
yeah.
is not good at all. And Lamar Jackson is their kryptonite. Uh, they can't figure out a way to beat him. But if he's not playing, and if Cooper Rush is playing, then I think they got a much better chance, especially if they can stop Derrick Henry. But look, Baltimore is one of the toughest crowds to play in. I don't think the Texans defense is as good on the road as they are at home.
Yeah.
So regardless, I think it'll be a close game if Cooper Rush is playing. But if Lamar Jackson is playing, I don't see a path for the Texans to win unless they just all of a sudden turn it up offensively.
We're talking about the game next week. I'm going to say this. I don't know if I put it like this. Even with Lamar Jackson isn't the most scariest thing when I look at that matchup. I want to know if they can stop Derrick Henry. And Derrick Henry has had some bad games here the last 3 weeks, if I'm not mistaken, as far as fumbling is concerned. And then today, he wasn't effective, and they got down so far that I don't even think at one point he was even in the game because they were just trying to play catch up. So I don't want him to, I don't want that Texans run offense to look like, run defense, excuse me, to look like it did against Tampa Bay. And if you give that type of if you give those type of holes, or if you allow him to get going downhill like that, and with the amount of missed tackles that the Texans have had over these first 4 weeks, then you're looking at a very, very, very long day. And even like I said, even if Lamar Jackson is only, he could be 60%. And if he's 60 and Derrick Henry is 100, it's still going to be a long day for that defense. Yes, I trust the defensive backs for the Houston Texans, but I just don't know if that run defense doesn't get itself going to stop the Baltimore Ravens, then it's going to be a very long day. But and I will say this, but at some point though, and this may not be the point, but at some point the Texans are going to have to overcome the Ravens. I'm just going to say it. They're going to have to find some way somehow to overcome the Ravens, and I don't want them to get into their heads that every time we play them, they beat us like this or they beat us like that. The last time we played them, they made us look terrible at the Beyonce Bowl. And so if I'm D'Amico this week, I'm showing them all the bad things they've done against the Ravens and ask them, are y'all scared of the Ravens? Are you afraid to go into, what is it, M&T Bank Stadium? Are you afraid to go into M&T Bank Stadium? Are you already in your head saying we can't beat the Ravens? This is the week that I feel like D'Amico needs to really challenge his team, not just the defense side of the ball, but just challenge his team as a whole.
I think that actually goes against everything. If he was to do it, I'm not saying you're wrong, Sarge, but if he was to do that, as far as are you scared of the Ravens, or kind of go back on some of the recent history, it goes against everything that D'Amico and Will Anderson and Aziz preach to us in the locker room every single week. That is week to week, and all other stuff really doesn't matter. And we know, of course, things do, and momentum is a thing. But as far as if you go back to CJ's rookie year where they got beat in the season opener and then got beat in the playoffs and really weren't up to the challenge, or last year on the Christmas Day game where the factors weren't great. It was a short week. They wins that game. It didn't feel good going into that. But now you talk about having to overcome Baltimore, they have a real opportunity too. When you think about both teams being 1-3, you go to 1-4, whether it's the Texans or the Ravens, that is a large hill to climb. And especially if the Ravens are going to miss Lamar Jackson for this week in the next couple of weeks, and as the Houston Texans, you're able to dump them to 1-4, you might not have to overcome them in the play if you get to their ultimate goal of getting to the playoffs and trying to reach where you want to go. Obviously, you got to get there. But if you drop the Ravens to 1-4, you might be able to handle that right now without having to worry about getting to the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, some fair points there. I kind of want to see the injury report, see if Lamar is really like going to be hampered going into that game. We'll see on that front. I think that's before we can really dive into that game. Like that is the key storyline. If he's playing, then like, all right, now we're having a discussion. If he's not playing, then they should be able to beat Cooper Rush. Even if they win 9-6, they should be able to beat the Ravens. Because Lamar is one of the most talented quarterbacks we've ever seen. Obviously not the most talented quarterback that we've ever seen. Mahomes is more talented than him, but that's not a hit right there. But like when you take that off the field, you're gonna miss a lot of that, and you're not gonna be nearly the same type of team. You know what I'm saying? So, if it's Cooper Rush, they should win that game. Be 2-3 going into the bye, getting ready to go to Seattle. You know what I'm saying? So, that for me, before I really like dive into what that game could mean and what could about, I gotta see if Lamar's healthy because that changes a lot. You know, and when I mean healthy, I mean like. Go ahead.
No, I mean, yeah. To your point about Lamar, the injury that he suffered, it's not, it's not like something light. Like it's a hamstring injury, and
I mean,
so
like
hamstring.
I mean, when John Harbaugh was asked if the game was close but Lamar had finished it, he declined to answer. All right, that man would have finished that game. In my opinion, no inside information. My opinion, if that game was close, Lamar would have finished it. I ain't say he tapped out, but it's like if you got a little tweak, you down by 20-something points, you're not finna come back. At that point, all right, we can wave the white flag. That happens. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not the end of the world. Like we've seen Mahomes tap out of the game. Not tap out. Let me not say that, but leave a game early. Got concussed against the Titans and was back in the very, very next week. And that was, I want to say around the time. Not obviously that wasn't pre-Tua. I mean that wasn't after Tua. Post-Tua, Tua's injury, concussion, and that changed a lot of more stuff. But again, like back then, if you got concussed, there's a good chance you're gonna miss that next game. So that's all I'm saying.
But I agree and I disagree with that though, because I mean, if Lamar Jackson is really hurt by the hamstring injury, then that takes a large part of his game. Even the threat.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Even the threat of him running.
Wow.
Because I mean, he's a threat on the ground game. That opens up things for him on the passing game. If he's hampered by the injury, you don't have to worry about him as much doing that. And now you can focus totally on the passing game. I'm not saying anything about Lamar Jackson. I'm just saying that takes a large part of his game out.
I disagree. I think Lamar has elevated to the point as a passer that if he's not winning,
I'm not saying Lamar not a good passer, but I'm not saying
you're saying that he's not a good passer. I'm saying that if Lamar is not going to run around, he can still slice you up. He can still be he can still drop 300 plus on you passing wide.
Definitely.
But if you take away that dynamic, though,
it makes it
easy.
Even if you take away that dynamic, Lamar can still slice you up at this point.
He can, but
I'm not saying that
it's easier.
No one's saying he can't, but just to not have to worry about that. If that is the case, obviously, like we'll see, right? Like,
he can still slice you up, and it's not like year 1 or year 2 or year 3 Lamar. This version of Lamar in this offense can most definitely, even if he's not using his legs.
I disagree. I disagree, DJ. And I'm only talking about Lamar versus the Houston Texans because the Texans have the defensive backs, as far as especially the cornerbacks, to hold their own. And Lamar can't. He's not going to be able to sit in the pocket when Will and Daniil is coming off the edge. He's not. He's going to have to find a way to find some type of room. So I don't think that going up against the Texans this week. I mean, even at 100%, even if he was 100%, he would still have to find ways to move and get out of the pocket because that line, those tackles are not going to be able to stop Daniil and Will on a consistent basis. I'm not saying they're going to stop him the whole game, but he's going to have to find, he would have to find a way to still be able to get away from those two.
I'm more or less saying
the rushing rules are also a little bit different too, though.
If he can't move at all, then he's not going to play, obviously. But if he's like let's say he's not like 100%, but let's say he's like 85, like he's not gonna like run around all day, but he can still move, have the pocket mobility. Then like that's still more than good enough with Lamar Jackson.
But
Do you think that
I've never had a hamstring injury, but you have. But if Lamar Jackson has a hamstring injury, he's not going to want to take off as much, or really like.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with pocket mobility. Pocket mobility is just how you move around.
You saying hamstring has nothing
You're
to do
talking
with
about pocket mobility.
mobility?
I didn't know you were talking about pocket mobility. I'm just saying like
mobility. Yeah,
I'm just saying like him. He's probably not going to go as hard running, so that's one less thing.
Well, again, if he's out there, then he's obviously good enough to still run around. I'm just talking about the hypothetical that, like, if he didn't want to run, he'd just still be fine. But like,
even healthy, he doesn't stay in the pocket a lot, though. He makes a lot of his plays moving in the pocket and moving out of the pocket.
That's all dynamic quarterbacks, though. That's all. But I'm just saying, like, he could still sit in that pocket and still slice you up. That's more or less the point I'm trying to make.
I just don't think he's able to do that against the Texans. I don't.
He did it last year.
Parts of that, like I'm pretty sure the rushing rules are a little bit different, though. You don't rush Lamar Jackson the same way you rush Cam Ward, right? Like just because of his ability to get out on the edge, you want to be able to contain that. So like you have to do things differently too. So that's another thing. Like you're talking about. As great as the edges are, like they're gonna watch film this week and they're gonna tell you, hey, you might not be able to do this move over here because the priority is just making sure maybe you keep him in that pocket and don't let him out of contain.
So this is what I'm going to say, right? This is what I'm going to say. And Will Anderson Jr. is fast. Even Lamar Jackson said after the playoff game in 2023, I did not realize he was that fast and could get to where he needs to get to, right? And with his outstretched, and being able to reach out and grab you. We also know that Danielle Hunter has track speed, basically. I mean, he's a little bit older now, but I mean, we heard, we've heard him being able to run and chase people down. So all I'm saying is with that type of speed coming off of the edges, and sometimes sometimes I will admit it's uncontrolled, but when they have that control dynamic of getting off the snap that quick and getting to put the pressure on the quarterback, and he has to move. If Lamar doesn't have that ability to be able to move, all I'm saying is that there isn't too many people in the league that has those type of bookend defensive ends that can get to Lamar like that. And so I feel like if he's not 100% healthy, when he's trying to get away from those two, then you're going to look up and he's not. If he's not healthy, he's not going to be able to get away from them as easily. Now, 85% DJ, yes, I will say that he'll make some plays. I will say that 85%. But just like Jonathan says, like I've had a hamstring injury, but I had a hamstring injury when I was older. He may be able to bounce back quicker. That's still going to, and in the back of your mind, because you're like, yo, at any point in time, I could pop this thing, and now I'm out for how many weeks?
At minimum like 4.
Yeah. And they can't afford to lose him for 4 weeks.
But if he's healthy, I wouldn't put it back. I mean, if he's healthy, though, I mean, I've never seen a team get more out. I've never seen a Texans team get more out schemed than the Ravens did on them last year. Like they had running holes that were crazy. Yeah. Lamar Jackson had his way. Yeah, bro. And both Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter were playing that game.
But Derrick Henry had a big game too, right?
Yeah, 147.
So that's what I started my whole thing saying, that hey, that running game of Derrick Henry is what could change the dynamics of a lot of things, because that's a big man being able to run downhill like that with that amount of force to try to hit you and punish you.
Yeah, but the blocking was really the thing of that game. I don't even remember Derrick Henry running over that many people. Yeah, the blocking just had crazy holes that game.
Yeah. Well, we'll close with this one. Talk about the other quarterback, CJ Stroud. Had a pretty nice game today. What did you see from the Texans QB1, especially coming off of past couple of weeks where there was question marks around not just offense, but the Texas quarterback as well. What did you see from CJ? DJ, let's go to you on that one.
I mean, I thought he had a pretty good game. Obviously, he had a couple misses, but everybody's going to miss some passes. But I thought he had a pretty good game. Obviously, I haven't dove deep into the film yet. It's up though, but I'm gonna dive into it more in the morning. But again, I think just off of the naked eye, he played pretty well. Managed the game pretty well. Obviously, the offensive line is still going to be an issue throughout the majority of the year, and I want to see how he continues to navigate through that. But yeah, I think he had a good game. I think he had a pretty good game. Yeah, pretty good game. Again, like I just want them to like get into the end zone a little bit earlier, but at the end of the day, still a good game. He quarterbacked. He made some nice checks. Obviously, the touchdown to Higgins, that was a check by him. Was able to get into that play and score a touchdown. So those are little things that make you go from like good to like great to almost elite. So.
Yeah, I thought CJ Stroud had a good game too. One of his better performances in recent games. Dating all the way back to 2024 season. It was his first 2 touchdown games since Week 15 last year. So I thought, one thing that we can say is the Titans have a good defense. They might not be great, but they have a good defense. So for Stroud to do what he did, especially in the fourth,
he's got a good defense. They just allowed 40 points to the Colts last week.
What they do Week 1 though?
They allowed like 19 to the Broncos.
The defense isn't bad. Yeah, I don't think the defense. Jonathan, I know what you mean. Yeah, the Colts have been running up on a number of teams. It doesn't help that also
they allowed 33, 41, and 26.
I think they got good pieces. I'm not saying they're great
pieces. Besides,
they've taken a little bit of a step down, but historically they've been a good defense.
Name those players.
I also don't think it helps that their offense keeps getting 3 and outs, and they had the time of possession where your defense is on the field. That doesn't help either.
They're not Swiss cheese.
I'm not saying they're dominant defense. I want to be clear on that, but I think they're better than the points allowed will show you.
I mean, like
I don't care.
They're not Swiss cheese. I mean,
the Titans defense is terrible. Sorry, just gonna like.
The point is like CJ Stroud had a good game. I don't know if other than Daniel Jones, if a whole bunch of quarterbacks have been killing the Titans all year. Running backs have, but I don't know about quarterbacks.
I mean, Stafford threw for almost 300 yards, had 2 touchdowns against them. Like they put up 33 on the road. Like,
okay, maybe we'll say they Swiss cheese. Regardless, CJ Stroud still had a good game.
Yeah.
It didn't take away from the point. So, yeah. So I thought it was one of his better games, and maybe something he can build off of. Give himself confidence because they definitely need it because the offense definitely looking towards him to be a big pick-me-up guy. One of the things I thought was important, though, for Stroud, he even mentioned it a little bit. I think Sarge might have asked a question about it. But I've been wondering these last couple games, like, where is the energy going to be brought? Like, when you score touchdowns, I think it's important. I thought we saw it a lot in 2023. I think the celebration and all that stuff is important because it gets everybody around you pumped up. It gets you pumped up. So he brought that back, and I think he talked about Titus Howard, telling them to celebrate that big play, and obviously it was contagious. Obviously, it got them going there in the fourth quarter. So it'll be interesting to see if he continues to do that.
I like what CJ Stroud did on Sunday. I like that he started to take what the defense was giving him until he was able to take more. And that when you have CJ operating like that, when you have him taking, the check downs, and when you have him taking, okay, I'm going to take this 5 yards here, or, as far as checking the ball down to the running backs, or I'm going to find, one of the tight ends in the flat, or I'm going to hit this quick slant and, go from it being 1st and 10 to maybe, 2nd and 5 or second, at least 2nd and 6 or whatever the case may be. But he started to take those until he was able to make the big plays down the field to Nico Collins, to make the big plays down the field to Jaden Higgins as far as that touchdown is concerned. But the one thing that I noticed in the second half, and especially after he hit that big pass to Nico Collins was he looked like he finally started to settle down. There was a play. I don't have my plays right here. I mean, my notes right here. There's a play that he completed a big pass to Xavier Hutchinson, and they completed the pass, of course. But when you go back and you watch, CJ is steady, just chopping his feet. And there's really nobody around him, but he's steady chopping his feet. He wasn't setting. And like I said, he completed the pass, but that was a sign to me that he still wasn't comfortable in the pocket. But as time went on, you can start to see him settle down a little bit more. And, to his credit, he took a lot of hits, especially in that first half. I think at one point, Jake Andrews had given up 3 quarterback pressures and Ingram had given up 2. And, there was a lot of traffic and stuff around him early on in the game. And so I could see, at one point, CJ got hit and he was down for a second. And then he rolled over and got to his knees and got himself back up. And that was a great question by Kim Davis to ask him about, just his resiliency to be able to keep getting up after, he's being hit so much. And so I like that he was finally able to settle himself down. That pass to Nico, the 37-yard pass to Nico really, looked like it calmed him down a lot more, because after that, then he started, picking up more. I don't know how many, passes he completed after that, but he just looked like he was way more comfortable. So that's the type of CJ Stroud that you need, especially coming out of the bye week. You're going to definitely need him to be more still, take what the take what the defense is giving him, and just constantly try to move the chains and not get into those long, 2nd and 8s and 3rd and 9s and things like that.
I think Jonathan brought up a good point about the touchdown celebrations, and just to the point of D'Amico even touched on it in the presser about, he said they asked him about, like, what did you see from your offense, and he said, I see an offense that's out there having a little bit of fun, and he made note of that. And like I said, Jonathan mentioned earlier about, like, 2023, you had everybody thinking it was the CJ Stroud dance when he was hitting it, right, or when Tank was out there, they were out there doing a bunch of handshakes. To last year, the certain swag that the offense played with when Stephon Diggs, did his little twirly thing, and the same thing with Nico Collins, and I think some of that it is contagious in what it can bring as far as a spark and just like the confidence it can bring, and that's something that I think we would all agree has been lacking. Like this team didn't really have offensively, didn't really have much of a swag. The defense does, right? And it's continued to have that. But offensively, it just, obviously when things were going their way, just, the body language wasn't great, and it just didn't look like they were having fun. And we did have questions about, like, hey, is everything cool with CJ Stroud? And I think we all know, like he's fine, but just for to see the entire offense, play with a little bit more joy, I think it helped. As we mentioned, Woody Marks, the spark that he provided, right? The nifty move on the way to the end zone, and the team celebrating with him. Nico didn't really lean into it too much, but, like, we know that Nico felt challenged by L'Jarius Sneed, saying who, like, Nico Collins hasn't been a star wide receiver, at least numbers wise, for the past couple of years, right? And so I think that kind of maybe gave him a little bit of an edge as well. So as Mika Ryan said, it was nice to see a team play with some edge and a little bit of fun to them, and we'll see if they can take that into Baltimore with them next week when they go on the road and try to get to 2-3, and then the season looks a little bit different, right? What's possible, at least as far as getting to the playoffs, I should say, if they can do that. But a good win for the Texans, shutting out the Titans. Before we get out of here, any other closing words, anything else that you guys want to hit on before, I know DJ and Sarge, y'all all behinds lay it down.
I mean, we'll see if they can build on this. I think that's all we can do right now. Just see if they can build on it, and hopefully we can get. I ain't gonna even say what I was gonna say. I was about to be petty about something that we've all talked about. It had nothing to do with what we was talking about, but I'm gonna leave that alone, be a bigger person. But hopefully they can build on what they could build on. You know what I'm saying? I know it takes time, but let's see as time progresses how much it continues to evolve.
Jonathan?
Yeah, and next week is a good opportunity because Ravens defense has not been good. They've been kind of trash, to be honest with you. So next week be another good opportunity for this offense to find their rhythm, and if they can sustain that, then maybe they can get more games going like that. But I'll have to see about 2 or 3 more games like this for me to be a believer.
Hey man, I'm just happy that they're going to get some more help on the back end. With some people coming back off of injury reserve as far as the defense is concerned.
Yeah, my fault game.
Yeah, as far as the defense is concerned, and
just gotta wait till mid-October, bro.
I'm just gonna say this. I'm gonna say this, and hey, look, we want to see the offense get better. We want to see CJ get better. Woody Marks, see if he can continue to go on. Hey, look, I'll say it before we get up off here. And the defense looked damn good. They looked a whole lot better without CJ Gardner-Johnson. Like, I'll say it. Y'all don't have to. I will. I'll take all of whatever is going to come with that. But it just looked like, what did it look like on Sunday? A system. What did it look like on Sunday? A scheme. What did it look like on Sunday? Like, it just looked like they came to play because everybody was on the same page. Like, Chancellor, I know that that's not what you asked for, but I've been holding that in for 56 minutes. I've been wanting to say that, and I said, well, I'm going to wait to see if anybody else is going to say that. One of the best things that the Houston Texans could have done, two things happened to the Houston Texans this week that was very, very, very good for the Houston Texans. One, they got a chance to play the Tennessee Titans, who came in 0-3 and is a worse team than the Houston Texans. And two, they let go of CJ Gardner-Johnson. Now, I'm not here to talk down on CJ Gardner-Johnson. All I'm going to say is this, is that you've got to you got to get to a spot and a place to where you can conform to what's going on and work within a system and not buck the system and think that you are the system and think that you're going to do what you want to do. That defense looked a whole lot better on Sunday. I don't care what offense they were playing against. They just looked better as a unit because everybody was where they were supposed to be.
It's much easier to be where you're supposed to be.
Said
trash offense. I will put that out there. It's much easier to be where you're supposed to be with trash offense. What you doing back there?
So as you said, you just say it like somebody gonna come after you for that take. I don't think anybody in the locker room is shed too many tears.
I didn't say the locker room. I didn't say the locker room.
I mean, is Gardner-Johnson gonna get at you?
The truth is the truth, though. The truth is the truth. I mean, as a player, I'm not attacking CJ Gardner-Johnson as a person, because as a person, I think that he could benefit from, having some conversations with some people that he's going to actually listen to. I feel like he could benefit from just talking to somebody and actually talking to them, not talking at them, and and listen to hear, not listen to respond, but listen to hear what's being said, not listen to respond, as a person. But, as a football player, because I think that CJ Gardner-Johnson is very talented. I think that he is I like the attitude in which he plays, but you also got to know that at the end of the day that you've got to play with the system, not against the system. I'm not saying that there isn't opportunities for you to take chances. I'm not saying that. But when you are doing your own thing, you're leaving a lot of people in very, very vulnerable, very, very vulnerable positions. And so, no, I just, I hope that he gets on another team, but I hope that team that he goes to, he realizes that, I'm here to play with the team, not be the team.
Sarge, you said CJ Gardner-Johnson needs to be able to listen, to be able to actually hear, not listen just to talk, and maybe it's just a Florida thing, right? I'll leave it at that. Ain't that right, DJ?
Yes.
Thanks for pulling up to the Texans Cookout Week 4. We will see you guys next week. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. More content coming to you guys soon. Peace and love.